Maybe you are just starting out on your leadership journey and you're a woman in leadership and you feel like I am outgrowing the role that I'm in. This video is especially for you. We're going to talk about one strategy that you will want to start implementing immediately. Yes, immediately. If you are having the sense that you are outgrowing the role that you're in. Now, you want to watch this video until the end because I'm going to share with you not only the strategy that you can start working on today, but I'm going to give you a bit of context in terms of why this happens a lot of times to women in leadership and how you can try to avoid it. Now, one of the things that comes up oftentimes for leaders in general is that we are the individuals that are the very, very high achievers. And if you clicked on this video, you are more than likely going through something. Let me know in the comments below what it is that you're going through. Because oftentimes, as leaders, especially when we are elevating, we encounter a lot of challenges. Now, I say this from experience because I have been through those situations. I understand the struggle of being in a role where you know you have completely surpassed everyone else. It can be very draining. So let me know in the comments below what you're dealing with. Before I go into this strategy, I want to say hello and welcome to those of you who are new to my channel. And if you are one of my absolutely amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. This channel heavily focuses in on advanced communication skills and strategies that will help you to communicate more confidently and concisely in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. If you are navigating a very highly visible role, or maybe you're that person that tends to freeze when you're put in the hot seat, then I encourage you to reach out to me at exciteexcellence.org. There are multiple ways that I can support you so that these issues you're feeling and experiencing do not happen anymore. Now, earlier this week and earlier today, actually, we talked about what happens when you outgrow your boss and you outperform your boss. I gave you some insight in terms of how to be more strategic and thinking long term. Now, I do want to say when you feel like you have outgrown a role, the number one strategy that you will need to implement as it relates to your career growth specifically will center around you being able to think strategically about your own career. Now, earlier we talked about being more strategic when you're working with your bosses, when you feel like you are outperforming your boss. But I will share with you, I have done the high stakes communication assessment for many, many women leaders so far. And I do want to let you know that this assessment that I did live with several individuals will be available to you in a digital format very, very soon. I have everything together for it. There's just a few logistics I'm working on. But in the assessment, there's a specific question that asks about where do you feel like you are in terms of the path for your career? Do you have a clear path to that next level in your career? Now, for those of you watching, welcome. I hope you're doing well today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And have you ever felt like you've outgrown your role? Put in the comments below. Let's talk about it. But the question I asked specifically is about, do you feel like you have a clear path to advancing in your career? And this question is the question that I consistently receive no responses for. And if you are a woman in leadership and you've been in a situation where you feel like you're outgrowing, then it's so important for you to start immediately thinking about where you are. Okay, I'm outgrowing the role, but then also thinking about specifically what it is that you need to do to help you try to move forward. All right, I want to say hello, Chaz, man of culture. Hello, Chaz. High five, friend. How you doing today, Chaz? Chaz says hello, doctor. Chaz, how are things going for you, friend? I want to, if you can share insights about your conversation, hope everything went well for you. But good to see you, friend. Now, when you feel like you've outgrown a role, you feel like you've outgrown it, you have to start thinking ahead in terms of what specifically do I need to do? What moves do I need to start making? What conversations do I need to start having that will help me to advance in your career? Now, this is one of the main reasons why leaders tend to struggle with this, because sometimes, thank you for the heart emojis, we will be in situations where we're just leaders, we're busy working with people, helping people be able to be successful, and we're just so busy. And even though we know we're outgrowing our role and we're doing more than the people that are around us, we just stay stagnant. We still keep working, we still keep doing the same thing every day until one day we wake up and something happens where we realize I have just wasted a lot of my time. I say this from experience. I have been in situations where I have worked in senior executive roles where I knew I was outgrowing the role I was in, and I made the mistake and I did not start planning ahead fast enough. I decided to stay where I was and just keep my head down and just work on my projects, work on managing people, buildings, and all those things. But I did not plan ahead and start really thinking, how can I strategically position myself to be in a better situation in the future? So if there's anything you learn from this video, as I mentioned to you, the one strategy that you definitely want to keep in mind if you are feeling like you are outgrowing your role is to start strategically planning ahead for your career, not the career for your employer, not the projects you're working on. You have to think about you. You have to think about yourself, because at some point in time, that feeling, that sense that you are outgrowing your role, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back in a way that may sometimes be unexpected and will completely catch you off guard. I will tell you, I've been in both situations, and I know how incredibly frustrating it can really be when you're caught off guard, especially when you know you've outgrown a role, you haven't taken the time to try to prepare yourself in advance to make sure that you are planning ahead for yourself. I just don't want you to be a part of any catastrophes in your own life if you can at all help it. Now, let me know if you've ever felt like you have outgrown your role as a leader. Let me know in the comments below. And also let me know, what are some questions or what are some challenging situations that you might be going through right now? I'm here to support you any way that I can. I appreciate everyone being here and being present for the live. And I really want to be able to provide you with as much support as possible. So come to me with the really hard challenges, the really hard situations that you're dealing with, because I know how it is when you are a woman in leadership. I know how it is when you're a man in leadership in terms of some of the responsibilities that you face, just leaders in general. It doesn't matter your gender, we just deal with. And I know how hard it can be when you don't feel like you have somebody you can actually talk to about it, especially when it gets really tough. So come to me, come to our lives, and I'll be able to support you. All right, let me go to the chat really quickly. Chaz Man of Culture says, I'm all good, thank you. The conversation went surprisingly well, actually. He helped me understand things from his perspective. Chaz, that's great. You know, you've been on my mind about that conversation because I knew you were having a conversation very soon, and I was wanting to know, I was hoping that everything went well, and I'm glad that it did. And so at least you have the ability to understand the other party's perspective. I'm sure you were able to articulate your perspective as well, and just come together and just make sure that you're being supported and that you are not necessarily feeling like you're in a situation where someone's putting a spotlight on you in a way that you just didn't want it to be on when they could have addressed it with you privately. But I'm glad that worked out for you, Chaz. I'm really glad that it worked out, and hope some of the things that we talked about during the live provided you with some insight to help you navigate that conversation. I'm sure you picked up on nonverbal cues and some of his nonverbal gestures that you had in the conversation. I'm sure that you were able to be spot on with that because I know you join us live very often. All right, I want to say hello to Crazy Jack 7897. Hello, hope you're doing well today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you all are joining today. I just shared with you, if you have the sense that you are outgrowing the role that you are in, my number one strategy for you is to start strategically thinking about your career, not your projects, not your company that you perhaps are working for, but you have to really start thinking about yourself and thinking about what are some things you can do right now to help you move forward. Now, I'll give you something else too that happens oftentimes when people start identifying that, yes, I know I'm outgrowing my role. Yes, I know strategically I need to start having different conversations, maybe attending some networking events or being around a certain type of individuals as it relates to your profession or your industry or etc. People will know that, okay? They will know that these are the steps I need to take. But one of the challenges, and I'll share with you this personally, this happened to me before, but one of the challenges that a lot of people end up experiencing is that they know all the information. They know they need to make strategic moves in their career. They know they need to do all these things, but they just don't do them. And they tend to wait. Life gets in the way. Families happen. Life happens. Things happen that continue to draw them back into the roles that they were in. And then they find themselves in a situation where something catastrophic happens and they think to themselves, oh my goodness, I wish I would have done a bit more. And if you find yourself in that situation, you figured out strategically the moves you want to make, what is the goal you want to have. Maybe you want to accomplish a different role in the organization you work for, or maybe you have your own business and you know you're trying to grow and expand. I encourage you to just keep moving and be consistent. Every day is a tough day, depending on if you have found yourself, if you are in a position where you are outgrowing the role you're in, it makes it really hard. And if you have those moments where you just feel exhausted and you just don't want to do it, take some time, reflect, recharge, and get back at it the next day. Make sure you're working on those plans, because when that situation happens, or whatever situation may occur where you really have to face this outgrowing of your role that you are experiencing, you will be very happy that you continue to move forward and you continue to be very strategic in the conversations or the moves that you're making in your career. I personally wish that I would have done this. I know for many of my clients I work with, as I mentioned in the high stakes communication assessment that you all will have access to, that is one of the main questions that comes up in terms of, do you have a clear path to advancing your career? And it's something you have to really sit and think about, because if you don't have that clear career path, this is, even though you may think it's not high stakes, it really is, because if you don't have a clear path to that next level in your career or where you're going, it can slow you down. It can make things a bit challenging for you. And I don't want you to be in that situation. That's why you have to be strategic. When you're thinking about high stakes, high pressure communication, friends, it's all about strategy. It's all about strategy. There's a lot you have to learn. Of course, that's why you subscribe to the channel. But there's a lot you have to learn, but there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. So why not use that strategy for your own life to advance yourself? All right, let me say hello to Jars. Hope you're doing well today. I see your comment. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that's really the main thing we got to focus in on, is just making sure you're in a good place where you are being very, very strategic about how you're communicating. All right, for those of you watching the live, welcome, welcome. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today, friends. And have you ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like you are outgrowing the role you are in? Put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Let's come up with a strategy for you today. All right, we have Godzilla11. Hello, welcome. Thank you for the heart emojis, friends. We have James Freeman, 892, says hello. Godzilla says you're beautiful. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you all being here today. If you have ever been that person, thank you for the heart emojis, friends, that has perhaps frozen when you are under pressure. Maybe you are in a very highly visible role. Maybe you are a leader and you are having to manage a lot of situations, and you are trying to position yourself to earn a salary increase or be able to simply debate back and forth with someone if they challenge you or give you a hard time. This is the absolute best channel for you to subscribe to on YouTube. This is the only channel on YouTube that talks about high stakes, high pressure communication strategies in a live setting so that you can gain as much information as you can. Therefore, the next time when you are in a situation, when the pressure is on, you're going to be able to communicate it very well. I have several playlists here on the channel. There's a couple of things I would keep in mind if you're new, because I know there's a couple of new people here. One of the fundamental things that you're going to want to learn how to do, especially if you're communicating these very high stakes, high pressure situations, is thinking on your feet, maintaining your eye contact, controlling your tone of voice, managing your emotions under pressure, controlling your body language. All of those are really great fundamental places to start. I do have a playlist that talks specifically about the fundamentals of high stakes communication mastery. There's a playlist that talks about executive presence. There's a playlist that talks about leadership, boundaries, and pushback. I know boundaries is a very big topic here on YouTube. There's a lot I can support you with, and the channel is only just really starting out. As soon as I get everything set up for my studio and I'm recording videos for you or doing pre-recorded videos for you, you are really going to be at a point where you are going to be completely blown away, because I'm going to share with you what leaders are doing across the world or in various situations that are showcasing high stakes, high pressure communication skills and strategies that I can show you so that you can use them in your conversations, so you can be that very influential, very persuasive leader that you need to be in those situations. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Thank you for the heart emojis, friends. James Freeman says, you are a beautiful woman. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Jeremy Bullwinkle. Hello, Jeremy. How you doing today, friend? High five, friend. Jeremy says, hello, Dr. Jacinta. And Godzilla says, did I make your day? Well, I appreciate that comment. All right, Ches, Man of Culture, says, I recall you once talked about being able to read people's intentions when having a conversation. Do you mind emphasizing on how to do that and what to look for, please? Chaz, of course, absolutely. I will definitely do that for you, friend. It's interesting you mentioned that. I just had a conversation with a client of mine that's going into a high stakes conversation, and we were just talking about the structure. And the very first thing, Chaz, that I told her is you have to watch this person. Now, to break it down for Chaz, and for those of you watching, there's a lot of videos I have on my channel that talk about couple things that you want to keep out for as it relates to reading people and etc. But I'm doing this special for Ches so that I give Ches something to something to work on. Now, Ches, when you are in those situations where you're trying to read someone, there's a difference between looking at someone and observing someone. Now, when you look at someone, you may be looking at them, but you're kind of busy in your mind. Maybe you're not really focused on what they're saying. You're looking at them, but maybe you're tired. You have other things focused that you're dealing with or that are just occupying space in your mind. That's when you look at someone. Now, when you are observing someone, that means whatever things you have going on in your mind, maybe it's a conversation you had, a situation you had at home, or whatever the issue may be, it needs to go. It has to go. Because you cannot truly observe someone if your mind is full here. You have to be almost hyper-focused on this person in order to learn how to read them, Ches. Now, a couple things that you want to look for, and I'll mention a few just to get you started. The areas that I like to focus on when I'm reading people, and Godzilla, I'll take a look at your comment in a moment. The main things are aspects of communication that I like to focus on, Ches, when I'm trying to read people. Is first, I have a little bit of a baseline. So I start to pay attention to them a bit more in terms of how they're communicating. One of the first areas I look at is their eyebrows. Here. I have found over the past 20 years, being in very, very friendly and very contentious situations, that the eyebrows will tell you a lot. They will tell you a lot of information about a person in terms of what they really are feeling about a conversation, even though they may say something differently. For example, and thank you for the celebration cap and the heart emojis. If you're speaking to someone and they say, I'm really excited to see you today, right? They are saying their side, you heard audibly. What did you hear? I said, I'm excited to see you today. Okay. I said, I'm excited. So you would think, oh, well, this person said they were excited to see me. Fantastic. Well, what did my face show? Did I smile? Yes, I did smile. And I said, I'm really excited to be able to meet you today. However, what did my eyebrows do? Did my eyebrows look like they were excited? Did they? Go back and look at the video, but I'll share with you, I did not. I purposely did that. Thank you for the heart emojis, friends, because my eyebrows did not show excitement. I have just seen that when someone's genuinely excited about something, a situation or a conversation, they cannot hide it unless they are trained to do so. That's why you watch the channel. But if someone's genuinely excited to talk to you, or maybe about a project, or maybe about an initiative, you will likely see their eyebrows go up. You will likely see their eyebrows go up because they're showing you there's some form of excitement. When you are genuinely excited about something, there's so many things that happen neurologically and internally and psychologically to where it shows itself in terms of how your face is communicating it. So paying attention to someone's eyebrows, Ches, is a great way to start. I would always start with the eyebrows first because the eyebrows are going to tell me, are they excited to see me, or are they not excited to see me? Are they excited to talk about this topic, or are they not excited to talk about this topic? Pay attention to the eyebrows. They'll tell you a lot. Thank you for the heart emojis. Now, the next thing I want to mention to you is that the lower third of your face. So your face is divided into thirds. For those of you who may not know this, this is definitely something just generally I would think artistic wise, but we learn this as becoming doctors too. But your face is divided into thirds. So you have your first third that is going to be the first half of your face, the first third of your face here, your second third, and your third third. And I like to pay attention to the person's smile or their lips. What are they doing? Because once again, you may have a situation where someone says, I'm really excited to see you. And instead of showing a smile, I'm really excited to see you, then they may just say, I'm really excited to see you. Straight face. Well, that shows me right there, you're just saying you're excited to see me because that's what you think is the right thing for you to say. But do you feel that way? No. After reading your expressions, I see that's just, you're not meaning that specifically. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to mean someone's excited to see you. This is any conversation you have. Pay attention to whether someone's excited, whether they may be apathetic to something, or maybe they just don't care. They will let you know by their eyebrows and their lips for sure. Now, eye contact is a big part of that also when it comes to reading people. That's in terms of being able to get a sense of what someone's thinking. Their eye contact is very, very important. Their body language is important too, Chess. So when you're having a conversation with someone and maybe you're talking about a topic. So let's say, for instance, the conversation you had as it relates to your projects and etc. If this person start to just move around, maybe they just kind of set back a little bit or just seem like they were just moving, like they were uncomfortable, then they are telling you, you are reading them and noticing that this part of this conversation is uncomfortable to you. Now, the opposite could happen. Someone could simply just cross their arms. Maybe that means they're cold. Maybe that's just how they tend to rest their body. That's why you have to really pay attention to the big picture in terms of how someone's communicating with them. So those are a couple aspects in terms of nonverbal communication, in terms of what I share with my clients in a one-on-one setting to help them start learning how to read people. People will tell you one thing, but then their reaction may show you something completely different. Another part of reading people comes down to how they are communicating. And this is your baseline. So if you have the opportunity to work with somebody or interact with somebody that you speak to on a regular basis, pay attention to how they communicate when they're really happy, when they're really upset, maybe when they don't care, because you can store that as data in the back of your mind and know that when a situation is bothering them, you can pick up on it like that and say, something is wrong, what's going on? You have to collect the baseline. Now, let's say if you're not collecting a baseline and it's just somebody you just randomly met in just walking by, then you have to pay a little bit more attention to their facial expressions and their tone of voice, because your tone of voice will have to dictate to you how you should manage the situation. Now, remember, one of the things that I talk about as it relates to reading people specifically is that you want to make sure that you make a determination extremely quickly as it relates to where is this conversation going. Now, I talk about this a lot on the channel, but as a refresher for everybody, either the comment or the statement being made to you is either going to be friendly, unfriendly, or somewhere in between. And if you're not quite sure after you've read this person, Chaz, and you've read this person, you're looking at them, you're noticing a few things that maybe there's some aspects of the conversation they're not really comfortable about, or maybe there's some aspects of the conversation that they're really happy about, or maybe there's aspects of the conversation that they don't like. For instance, and I didn't mention this one, but eyebrows going down, looking like they're confused. That is another way for you to read people. Unless you subscribe to my channel, like Chaz has been, and Jeremy also. Unless you're subscribed to the channel, you more than likely do not know how to control these aspects of how you communicate in terms of your facial expressions. That's why I share as much as I can on this channel, because I want to be able to empower you to be able to control your facial expressions. Now, you may be saying, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to be myself. I just want to be myself. Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And you're not being yourself by controlling your facial expressions, but you are communicating at a higher level than your peers, and that's why you subscribe to the channel. So all of those aspects, Chaz, help you to start understanding how you can start reading people. Eyebrows, those are a really good giveaway. Lips, watching the lips in terms of, is it a smile? Is it a straight face or a straight smile? Or maybe it's a half smile. Or you also want to pay attention to how their voice is communicating. Do they sound excited? Do they not sound excited? And then also you want to be able to factor in their body language. What is their body language showing you that they are not willing to tell you out loud? All of that, Chaz, all of that comes together to help you learn how to read people. Now, oftentimes, this is a skill you have to develop, and you have to get very, 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 very good at it. Not after you think about it for a while, but quickly. Like, you can pick it up very fast. Now, that's why you come and work with me directly, because I'll help you be able to start doing that. I have a lot of exercises I do with my clients to help them start learning how to read people. Because when you can learn, Chaz, and everybody watching, when you can learn how to read people, this skill will change your whole career, how you process and how you look at things, because you will be able to gain control of a conversation if it's going out of control. You will be able to pick up when the conversation is going in a very good direction, or when the conversation is starting to turn into a more negative direction, and readjust how you are communicating and what you are saying, how you are saying it, when you are saying it, because you are paying so close attention. You're observing this person that you can read them. Now, I'm not saying you can read somebody's mind. I'm definitely not saying that. But for the average leader, they are not trained at this level that I'm sharing with you here, only on Excite Excellence in terms of my YouTube channel. They're not trained at this level. There's the people that are trained at this level are going to be your presidents, your prime ministers, your world leaders, your politicians, your public figures, your actors. All those people are trained at that higher level than other people. That's why they are very exceptional at the roles that they do. Now, of course, depending on the leader, maybe they're not exceptional. Okay, we have a lot going on in the world, but they have been able to achieve a level of success that most people have not been able to. Why? A lot of it comes down to how they communicate and how they're able to control how they communicate. So, Chaz, I hope that gives you some insight. You know, I do it just for you, friend. I will give you as much as I can as it relates to being able to read people, but that's a good foundation for you to get started in terms of how do you put it all together to start learning how to read people. All right, so let me see. Godzilla says something about being in a relationship, and said they had to go. Okay, so I hope they got that figured out. I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so we have Stephen Donnelly 3921. Hello, Stephen. Good to see you, friend. Welcome back, Stephen. Let me know what questions y'all have as it relates. We have went in a different direction. We talked about the strategy for those of you just joining. The strategy that you want to keep in mind when you are at a place where you are outgrowing your role. Be very strategic in terms of the moves that you are making in your career. You have to think ahead as soon, friends, as you feel like, I am really growing past this. that's when you need to sit down, take a moment and think about it. If you need some help thinking about that, then contact me for an executive strategy session. Work with an executive coach and consultant like myself. Let's get this clear for you so you know exactly the path you need to go to. But nonetheless, you have to take some quiet time to kind of figure out exactly what it is you need to do to plan that next step, because you're going to find yourself in a situation where you know you're outgrowing the role and you continue in it, and then something happens and you say, you know what, I should have already been working on this. Why did I not work on this before, and etc. Don't want you to be in that situation. Ches, Man of Culture, asked a fantastic question as it relates to reading people, and I broke it down as much as I can, the same type of information I share with my clients. There's only but so much I can do with you, of course, in a live setting on YouTube in front of the whole world. If you want some support, some direct support, then that's why you work with me individually to get there. But I broke down how you read people. What are the factors? What are the nonverbal? What are the verbal gestures that factor into reading people? I will tell you all as soon, and I'm so incredibly excited for this because I know this is going to help you all so much. As soon as I get everything set up with my studio and set it up, where I can do videos for you all and show you people how they're communicating, the very good things you can take out of it, and maybe the things that you might do that you do not want to take out of how they're communicating. I know it's going to be a game changer for many of you, because when it comes to communicating in those very high stakes, high pressure situations, the key, and the reason why sometimes this is just so ambiguous to people, is because they simply have not been exposed to what it means to communicate under pressure. How do you communicate under pressure? When you watch people, what do they do when they're communicating under pressure? And that goes for anything else in life. If you feel as if you're at a place in your career, your life, your journey, where you believe that you're stuck or you're not where you want to be, you know you want to do more, a lot of it is going to come down to exposure. You may need to get yourself around people that are at that one step ahead of you to help place you in a very strong position as you're navigating this part of your career. That is completely separate than what we're talking about today, but exposure is key. And I want to make sure I expose you all as much as I can to high stakes, high pressure communication as it relates to different individuals, so that you can pick up on things and you can just say, I like how this person said this. The next time I do a presentation, the next time I have a one-on-one conversation, let me do that. And I'm telling you, you will be that person that people will be asking for to lead, to communicate, to do different things, because you are going to be an exceptional communicator. Everybody that's a part of my channel, that's a part of my audiences on any of the social media platforms I have accounts on right now, you all are special. You're very, very special in a way where you are the leaders that we need in the world today to communicate, because my content is not made for everybody. This is not just random clickbait, silly nonsense. This is the type of skills that will completely change your life. I have seen clients of mine that have been able to negotiate $55,000 salary increases by working with me and by being able to communicate their value. If you think high stakes communication is something that people just don't need to worry about, I'm telling you right now, what would $55,000 do for you right now? Regardless of where you were in your career, would it help you? It sure would. So it comes down to so many parts of our lives. That's why I'm so incredibly passionate about this. Many of you know, and I want to know from you what you can contribute to this, but many of you know that I am on a mission to create the largest high stakes, high pressure content high stakes, high pressure communication library on planet Earth. And I'm trying to do it here on YouTube. So let me know what questions, what situations. Come to me with the hard things, the hard, complex, challenging situations that are professional, that are dealing with careers, etc. If it's other aspects, that's not my expertise. My expertise is more of the professional side of things. But come to me with the hard things and let's build this community together. Let's make something big here. I can only do it so much by myself. It comes from the audience and from the community as a whole. This is going to be the place where people go and they want to be trained on how to communicate at a higher level than their peers. And I can only do it with your help. Okay, I want to say hello to Jana. I want to say Jana. If I did not say it correctly, it looks like Rosier, maybe your last name. But Jana, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know what questions you all have specifically as it relates to this topic. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. For those of you just joining, welcome, welcome. If you're new to me and new to the channel, and if you've liked this content so far, you're more than welcome to take a look at my playlist here on my channel and get some insights there that will help you to communicate under pressure. And then also, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. This is a place where I go live on YouTube at least 8 times a week. And I'm here to support you in a way that I can. You will gain a tremendous amount of knowledge here on this channel that you will not, I repeat, you will not get it from anywhere else. So this is definitely a good investment of your time as you are navigating that next level in your career. Take a look at my playlist. They'll give you a great place to start in terms of where you're going. And if you have topics you want to learn more about, let me know in the comments below. I will do a video for you, just for you. I have 2 videos I'm doing for IXO Multic this week that talk about literature. We have one tomorrow night. We're going to talk about it, but ultimately my audience knows I'm here for them. If you have something you want to learn more about as it relates to communicating under pressure, then this is the absolute best place for you to be. I will see you all in the next video.